thank you to our sponsor, MBA Growth Partners.
Hello and welcome to Studio 501c3. I'm your host, Kim Jones, Executive Director of the Nonprofit Village. Our show features nonprofit organizations designated as 501c3 by the IRS because they provide a public benefit. In most cases, your donations to them are deductible. Nonprofit Village and Montgomery Community Media are partners on Studio 501c3 and features our county's excellent nonprofit programs and services. Today, our show features the Montgomery County Food Council. The council evaluates local food systems and looks for ways to improve it, and we'll find out more about how they do that. Here with me today is Executive Director Heather Brushkin. Thanks for joining us, Heather.
Thanks so much, Kim, for the invitation and opportunity to be with you today. It's a pleasure.
Great. So let's talk about the council as the leading nonprofit that really guides kind of food security, especially during COVID. We know that there's so much need and the increase in hunger, getting food to people, making sure that our farmers, our restaurateurs, and all those in food service have opportunities available to them as well. So tell us a little bit more about the extent of your work and some of the partners that you work with.
Well, thanks so much, Kim, again, for the invitation to be here. And the Food Council is a primary connection point for businesses, nonprofits, government agencies, and residents around food system issues in our county. We bring together over 2,000 local and regional partners in community-wide collaboration, education, advocacy, in order to build our more resilient, sustainable, and equitable local food system. Over 100,000 residents in Montgomery County are at risk for hunger. We also work to expand food education opportunities for all residents. We support our county's farms and food and beverage producers, and we address the impact of our local food production, distribution, consumption, and recycling, the impact of that on our natural resources. We have a small team of 7 paid staff, and they connect the insight and expertise of 25 volunteer council members, as well as the Food Security Community Advisory Board, a board of directors, and hundreds of working group volunteers to lead food system initiatives in our county through weekly issue-focused convenings, policy creation and implementation, and coordination of other initiatives.
Wow, that is a complex system, especially for a staff your size in order to manage. And a key component, I guess, is to really strengthen those connections between the food and beverage organizations, the businesses, the consumers. I don't even know where to start. So strategies, some of the strategies that you use in order to increase and strengthen those connections, make sure that each component of the community, a citizen, a farmer, a restaurant gets what they need. You have all these parties. You said over 2,000 that you're working with. So what are some of those strategies?
Well, as you know, in Montgomery County and really throughout our state and nationally, food work is often done in a siloed fashion. So you'll have initiatives that support local businesses or focus on agriculture or work on food security and anti-hunger initiatives. But really, it's all part of a connected system. And the way that we can support local businesses and create jobs and address the sustainability of the way we produce and consume of that food ultimately are interconnected with job creation, economic stability, and the ability of all our residents to access food, and not just access food, but access food that's nutritious, that's safe, and that's culturally appropriate. And so the Food Council brings together every week through our 4 working groups, which are open to the public and focus on food education, food recovery and access, environmental impact, and food economy. We bring together lots of different partners and county representatives, as well as some experts from the state and the national level to bring different perspectives and inform the work that's happening initiative-wide in the county, but then also from a policy perspective. So how can we really establish some new processes in our county government and in the way we do work as a community to connect some of those pieces? So a great example might be our Farm to Food Bank program, which is an initiative in partnership with the Office of Agriculture and Manna Food Center. And so what this program does is it purchases product at fair market rates from one of our county's farms, and we have over 100 food producing farms in our county, and then connects that food to local residents who are food insecure through our county's robust food security network of over 100 different community providers. And so that's supporting our local businesses, but then also putting food on the table of all of our residents.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing, that it gets to that point. So there's a lot to unpack there, but there was one thing that you mentioned about culturally appropriate food access. And, could you talk a little bit more about what specifically that is, why it's important, why it's critical, especially in the work that you're doing in terms of making sure that that there's equitable distribution and outreach, visibility and marketing. So tell us a little bit more about what that means before we go to commercial break.
Absolutely. So Montgomery County is home to some of the most diverse communities in our country, and the food traditions of our residents are just as diverse. And so it's really important that when residents are accessing food assistance services, they're accessing food that's familiar to them, that they know how to prepare, that they're comfortable cooking and consuming and feeding to their families. And so it's been really important that the food that is available to residents through food assistance services match those cultural traditions or faith restrictions or medical or diet restrictions as well. And so our providers have been working with the county government, our food security task force, and the county's food council to better understand and match the available resources and make available a diversity of foods to put into that pipeline of food assistance programs. And our county council recently appropriated over.
Let's take a quick break, Heather, but we're going to come back and finish up. So I want you to hold that thought. When we come back, we're going to just find out a little bit more about the culturally appropriate food sources and more about the food system and what it means. So you're watching Studio 501c3 on Montgomery Community Media. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Oh boy. Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides at aarp.org/caregiving.
Welcome back to Studio 501c3. I'm Kim Jones, and with me is Executive Director of the Montgomery County Food Council, Heather Brushkin. So let's go back to what we were talking about. I want you to finish your thought from before the break on the culturally appropriate food resourcing.
Yes. So we've implemented a number of strategies, particularly during COVID-19, to be able to increase funding and access to culturally diverse foods for our food assistance providers, and then also partner with county farms to increase their production of culturally diverse crops. We have, as you know, a very diverse community with residents who've immigrated from many countries around the globe. And so it's important that we grant access either through community gardening initiatives or through crops directly from our county's farms to get access to those produce items, as well as packaged foods that reflect those cultural traditions.
Great. Thank you for that. And I also want to go back to something else that you had mentioned earlier, and that was you have the working groups, and you mentioned that they're open to the public. Does that mean that by going to your website, people can find out when those meetings are being held? They can kind of log in or attend once we get back to, doing more things in person. Is there any registration, or what happens there?
Absolutely. Well, we're meeting exclusively virtual in the pandemic. And so, but we've actually seen that's increased participation in our working groups significantly. And so one of the wonderful things about food is it connects us all. And so we all have expertise and perspectives to share to inform this work. And so we invite everybody to visit our website, www.mocofoodcouncil.org, to find out when our meetings are. We have one every week. And for the past 9 months, we've been connecting our entire food security community every other week to share information about best practices, about resources that are available, and to really address the crisis around food access in our county during the pandemic.
That is a great way to kind of engage community voices. And again, it speaks to how you have put so much thought into making sure that there's equity in terms of your outreach and engaging everybody that you can. So that's terrific. And we'll make sure that people have that website on the screen, because if they want to visit, they're not only going to find that information, but I think you have a lot of other priorities that people might be interested in. But you said is it 20 or 25 members of the council?
That's right. We have 25 members, and they represent all the different aspects of our food system, and they lead our working groups and also inform the policy work that we do. We work really actively at the county, the state, and the federal level, and on legislation on everything from promoting compost infrastructure to reduce food waste in our waste stream, to increasing food security for our residents through programs like SNAP or through school meal programs as well. So there's lots of opportunities for residents to engage in advocacy through our work as well.
Okay, so we only have about a minute left, but other opportunities for engagement. If a viewer is looking at this and says, I would like to get involved, obviously, there's always the opportunity to donate, but other ways that people can get involved besides just kind of attending a work group session, are deeper ways that people can get involved with you?
Well, I think one of the positive benefits of the pandemic is that people really are becoming more aware of the businesses and the other opportunities in their community to support local businesses. And so I always encourage folks to look at our food and beverage guide
mention that. Yeah.
And find out ways to support local farms or packaged food and beverage businesses, and learn a little bit more about the county that we live in and the food traditions that are part of our home here.
And the food and beverage guide is on your website?
It is, and we've recently launched a searchable version of the food and beverage guide. So if you're looking for local honey, local beer, local farm products, you can find where those items can be purchased online or in retail stores.
That is great. All right. Well, we are out of time, but I really appreciate you coming and talking with us today. I think that there's a lot of opportunity there. I want to thank you for joining me, Heather. And to find out more about the programs of the Montgomery County Food Council, you can go to mocofoodcouncil.org. Studio 501c3 is your window on nonprofits in Montgomery County. I'm Kim Jones, Executive Director of the Nonprofit Village. Join us next time on Studio 501c3 on Montgomery Community Media. Thanks, Heather.
Thank you so much, Kim.